Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Get Real podcast. My name is Ned.
And Lisa?
Welcome again. Today we're going to talk about relationships again.
What's our favorite topic in the
Us.
whole world? Us. In our relationship.
In relationships.
Yes.
But today's topic, the first one we did was about how to ready yourself for your ultimate love. The second episode we recorded was how to deepen your current relationship. Now this episode is about how do we create a sacred relationship. And that's something that Lisa and I have talked about right from the beginning. And I don't know that we used that terminology, sacred relationship, but we had definite ideas on what we wanted to do in our relationship and with our relationship. And those ideas started to stem outside of ourselves. So that's just one component that we're going to be talking about here.
Yeah, well said. I think most people heard us talk about it in terms of twin flaming, right?
And so what a sacred relationship to me is it's a relationship where once you establish a deep connection with your partner, then you start to we start to actively support each other's purpose, and we help each other move forward in our purpose. And now if I may take a little sideways, John, into purpose. Purpose is so important because I think it's divinely infused with what it is that we're supposed to do here in this life. And I see purpose as something that's a live feed that's currently happening in our life. It's not one big goal that we get to. So when we support each other's purpose, we're supporting each other in a live feed. If Lisa suddenly gets an idea that she needs to do something,
that's happened a few times.
And it's happened, and myself as well, we just support each other in that. We don't, I'm not quick to jump in and say, no, that's not a good idea. It's more about me listening, trying to understand, and seeing where, if I'm needed or if I'm not needed.
Yeah, I can see you feeling out. You're thinking of possible solutions, but you don't overstep that boundary of asking first. You're just ready there.
That's right. Because when something comes up in you, that's your purpose. It's not mine. And so my job is just to sometimes quietly support you, and other times I need to get up and move and help you in your endeavor. And you've done that with my writing journey.
Yeah, we have to let each other explore that part of it too.
That's right.
Or else there's a codependent factor that would come into play, right?
So in a sacred relationship, I think also what makes that different than just a normal relationship that I had in the past is that we have this inclusion of supporting purpose, but then there's also this inclusion of supporting each other's movement toward your personal growth. And not only your personal growth, but building a deeper connection with the divine.
Because he and I are so connected, he says a lot of things that I would say. So you're doing a great job of explaining things, even maybe a little extra more articulate. But I would say the same thing as you. All that you said resonates.
And like when I say we support each other's movement towards realizing our divinity or our connection with the divine, we do that in sometimes big ways and sometimes in little ways. There were times in our relationship where I wanted to go off and be by myself, especially when I was writing. And in the past, maybe past relationships, if we didn't have enough money to support me to stop working and go off somewhere, it might have been an instant problem. But in this relationship, when I've needed time for myself and I said, I need to go away, Lisa's just right there. Okay, we'll just make it work.
I just sprung that on you a couple of weeks ago that I really feel the need to do that myself. And you were nothing but supportive. I appreciate that.
That's right. And I think there's times on our spiritual path that we need to, sometimes as a couple, we need to kind of step back and take a bit of time for our own self-reflection. It's not always about being glued to the hip, although we don't mind that.
No, we don't. We'll be double glued when we get back together.
Yeah, exactly. We live together, we work together, but we often complain we don't have enough time together.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important component. If you want to take your relationship from being special and deep, taking it to the next level is bringing this sacred component where you're supporting your partner's growth, you're supporting their purpose. And when we do that, we allow each other to expand greatly. Your support in my journey with my connection with the divine, which is self, is my soul. All your support in my purposeful endeavors has helped me flourish in this relationship.
And I can do that because I do that for myself, right? An example is, yes, going away for a week or two or whatever it is. It helps the relationship too. It's anything but a threat to the relationship. But yeah, I can see it and understand it in you because I give myself that. So many, especially women, I find are still, they feel so guilty if they step away, or if they give themselves what they need, even if that's to carve out, I don't know, like an afternoon just to be alone. They have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, it's not your job to make sure that I'm fed and washed every day.
No.
I can take care of myself. And one of the ways that I support your journey to in a sacred way is that in the evenings, quite often, you need time to go and study. You need time to go and meditate, and just time to journal. So in the evenings when Lisa says, I'm out for the night, most often she's up for several more hours, but that is her time. And I never give you a hard time about it or try to impede on that.
I know you used to do that with your writing in the evenings. That was definitely your time. Yeah.
So then I think one of the last points that I want to make, and it's a big one when it comes to sacred relationships, is that when Lisa and I got together, do you remember how we talked about our relationship wasn't just for us?
We could feel that energetically. It was true. We know that we're here to be in service to others, and it builds our relationship. It's something that we can do together when we step into our power. We're so strong. We're strong on our own, but when we authentically do that for ourselves, I don't know how we couldn't be of service. That's
right. And I think we look at a relationship as maybe two people and becoming one unit moving forward. But one thing that's very different for me is that I saw when the two of us came together and became one in our relationship, it wasn't just for self. It wasn't just for our personal life. It was actually for others as well.
That's the difference between any relationship I've had before. We've never had that kind of language or intention.
That's right. And I think part of holding a relationship in a sacred way is that we continuously hold that love for each other. If we're holding that love for each other and we're allowing ourselves to saturate each other and ourselves in love, then automatically our relationship becomes like a beacon of light for others to find their way in their relationships.
I think that you can have sacred relationships with other people outside of an intimate partner as well. I just want to say that because I love, you always say where two or more are gathered.
I am there also.
Yeah, so there's a divinity to that. But you can have that if you are single. You can still have that. It might not, have the intimate aspect, but it can still be sacred. We know that from just having pets, or a lifelong best friend, a grandma that we loved.
That's right. When I think about when I do weddings again. Last week I talked about some of the things that I say when I marry somebody, and I always include in the ceremony about, may your love become strong enough that you become a beacon of light, that others find their way through you. And that's what I just said a moment ago. And that's another way that we take our relationship and build it into what I call a sacred one. And another component of the ceremony when I'm doing weddings is I say that when you get together with another, the moment you love each other, the relationship becomes sacred, because love is divine. Love is the divinity rising up in us. It's the movement of the divine coming into this world. It's the fabric that holds everything together in the entire cosmos, from my perspective. But maybe that's another talk. What is love, and how do we move more deeply into that? But in a sacred relationship, there's that constant holding each other in love. And I know that we touched on that last week in our talk. But it's one of the main premises of our relationship is that there is this constant insertion of love for self, and that's a very important part. So when we love ourselves, we take what we need, and that's that part of us doing our own purpose, walking our own walk.
Yeah, I think love in action is presence. Again, it's presence, right? If you're looking for a way to apply this, it's be as present with your partner or that person that you're having that relationship with. Be as present as you can. I think that's really how our sacredness has grown, right? Whether it feels like a not good moment or a good moment, you've taught me a lot that way too. Like, put your phone down and be with me. Be with me. And there's only so many moments you are going to, an unknown amount of moments you're going to get to do that with your partner.
Yeah, that's there's always a multitude of ways that we connect more deeply. And in those deeper connections, like we talked about last week, when we make that deeper connection with ourselves and each other, it really amplifies the relationship, and it truly turns into a sacred relationship. Yeah,
it keeps that energy at a certain level or higher, right? It keeps it lighter. I always speak in terms of vibration, but if it's not being constantly broken up with external things, right? We can still have the external world. We still operate in that, but you can also have this other thing going on that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's sort of our talk for today. I hope some of the things that we said inspires you to expand your relationship from a deep, loving, connected one into a sacred relationship where your love is spilling out into everything you do together and separately with your partner. Your love becomes this ray of light that supports and builds community, builds family and community. And your family and community is whoever is in front of you at any given moment.
I love that, Ned.
Yeah, and I love you.
And I love you. And I love us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. Take care.
See you next week.
See you next week.